Welcome back to the Malaysia Money Matters show. It's the 11th of February, 26.
It's good to be back. And we have a really packed day ahead. Everything from surprising shareholders to, well, global trade tensions that are starting to feel pretty serious.
Let's jump straight into the local corporate scene then, because Velocity Capital Partner is, well, it's the name on everyone's lips right now.
It is. And it's because MACC chief Tan Sri Azambaki has emerged with a 1.38% stake in the company.
In a penny stock.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating. These stocks are highly volatile. The shares, they spiked earlier in the year, but now they're trending down.
So when a high-profile regulatory figure buys in, the market gets, what, jittery?
Incredibly sensitive. It just highlights the risk, especially since Velocity also just took a loss selling shares in MAG Holdings. It's a complicated picture.
Definitely blurs the lines. Now, speaking of big corporate moves, Boustead Holdings is making headlines.
Right, with a proposal to privatize Boustead Heavy Industries Corporation, or BHIC.
And this is a pretty big deal, right?
It is. We're talking about a 149.6 million ringgit deal. The impact here is really about consolidation.
So taking it private to restructure?
That's the idea. They're likely looking to streamline everything away from the day-to-day scrutiny of the public market.
It really feels like a time for new strategies. We're also seeing a changing of the guard in the telco sector.
We are. Axiata Group has appointed Rizal as its new CEO starting in June.
And CelcomDigi has confirmed Albern Murty as their chief.
These aren't just administrative shuffles. These are really strategic appointments to steer the nation's top telcos through what comes next. 5G monetization, new services, all of it.
Okay, now over to the energy sector. Petron Malaysia used a pretty heavy phrase today, force majeure.
Yeah, you don't like to hear that. Their Port Dickson refinery jetty is still wrecked from Cyclone Senyar.
And that means what exactly?
It's a huge operational headache. It means they physically can't move product efficiently. So you should expect supply chain disruptions and a definite hit to their earnings until that's fixed.
Nature is really hitting the industries hard. SD Guthrie is even calling the palm oil situation a crisis.
A crisis of rising costs and, stalling productivity. They're blaming the dry weather.
So production is down?
But here's the twist. If production stalls, inventory tightens. And that scarcity could actually support crude palm oil futures prices, even if the producers themselves are struggling.
Bad for volume, but maybe good for price. I see. On a more positive note, Borneo Oil got the green light for gold mining in Pahang.
And MISC secured a big contract with ExxonMobil, a floating storage unit in Papua New Guinea.
So both are solid operational wins.
Absolutely. For Borneo, it's about expanding their resource base. For MISC, it's a really strategic entry into a totally new energy market for them.
And just quickly, a couple of others. Exim Hospitality is moving into construction, and UUE grabbed some pipe installation work in Singapore.
Diversification seems to be the word of the day. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Let's pivot to the wider economy and politics. How's the Malaysian consumer looking?
Surprisingly strong, actually. Retail sales hit an all-time high in 2025. It seems domestic consumption is really propping up economic growth at the moment.
Even with other pressures?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Kazana is still flagging pressure on the ringgit, and that's despite their own 5.2% investment gains. So it's a mixed bag.
And on the legal front, a lot of activity. The federal court found Isis Ahmad guilty of corruption.
And the Najib Razak trial continues, digging into those account balances. It's all a theme of, I suppose, accountability.
Which seems to be extending to politics, too.
It does. Pressure is really mounting on Muhyiddin Yassin. Reports are coming in that 14 Johor Bersatu divisions have allegedly lost confidence in his leadership. The opposition is facing a real test.
Let's zoom out to the global markets for a minute. The AI race is getting incredibly expensive.
Oh, absolutely. Look at Alphabet, Google's parent company. They're raising nearly 32 billion U.S. dollars in debt.
That number is just staggering.
It tells you everything. The AI race isn't about code anymore. It's about capital. They are building a war chest to fund the massive infrastructure you need to even compete.
And while tech is building, it feels like trade barriers are going up everywhere else.
They are. You've got BYD suing over U.S. tariffs, Trump threatening a U.S.-Canada bridge, and Macron in France warning about U.S. hostility.
So what's the takeaway from all that?
We're seeing the fragmentation of global trade. I mean, these tit-for-tat moves are going to make supply chains more expensive and just more complicated for everyone.
And that creates clear winners and losers. Just look at the corporate earnings.
Exactly. BP profits are up 32%.
While Hondas have slumped 60%.
It's a tale of two transitions, really. The energy companies are cashing in on current prices, while legacy automakers like Honda are just burning through cash trying to restructure for EVs.
It is definitely a messy, messy transition period from, penny stock drama here in KL to trade wars breaking out across the Atlantic. There is a lot to digest today.
There certainly is. I think the key theme is just to watch for volatility, whether it's coming from the weather, politics, or corporate restructuring.
That wraps up our coverage for today. Please subscribe to the Malaysia Money Matters podcast to ensure you never miss important updates on the Malaysian market.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you would like a deeper dive into all the investment opportunities from today's news, subscribe to my newsletter at moneymatters.substack.com. I will be sharing a deeper analysis of the key investment opportunities from today's news, including what makes these opportunities stand out and how they fit into the broader market trends. By subscribing to the Malaysia Money Matters newsletter, you will also get exclusive insights on my watch list and portfolio and fundamental reports on Malaysian listed companies.